We will now explore some aspects about what we call as industry evolution. How does a particular industry evolve? How does it go from one country, shift from one dimension to the other, from one country to the other? And then why do companies in that particular industry keep changing? The dominant companies or the ones which are also ran keep changing. You see organizations which are not so well known suddenly become the leaders. Let's try to understand this paradigm by taking a look at the automobile industry. This industry evolved somewhere around earlier in around 1870s. If someone wanted to have a car, he would rather like to go to a machine shop, and there the machinist would create a car right from scratch for the particular requirement. So it wasn't a mass production at that point of time. It was user designed, you might like to say, defined or designed. In the turn of the century, by around 1900s, European research was far ahead of the US research. So European research dominated the automobile scene, and in around 1906 we saw Ford Motors come into US and start playing a significant role. Remember, at that time, while the automobile had been developed and designed, people were still skeptical about it. There were no railroads at that point of time. Rail was significant, roads were not yet there. So, however, as European companies like Daimler competed on the other side with Ford to establish supremacy, again, Europe was in Europe, US was, they were not so connected. The European things won't get sold too much in the US market at that point of time. But then around 1914, remember, the World War I started. At this point of time, while the European war machinery, all the factories and all got dedicated to the war machinery, Ford on its own in the US could develop. Also, we see that when in 1940 the World War II started, a lot of war machinery got dedicated towards manufacturing products for the war. So therefore, and that was also the time when the US was largely untouched. The US went ahead in further research about for the automobile industries. Remember, few more things happened during this time. When Ford came in, it introduced the concept of mass production, which was quite alien to a lot of people at that point of time. Also, while Ford went into mass production, remember that we also saw that General Motors came in, and they went for more products for the various customer segments. So General Motors went for various variants and customer segment specific designs of automobiles. So while General Motors evolved, Ford evolved, Chrysler evolved at that point of time. Again, 1940s, from 1940s to 1970, that was the time when US led the automobile market due to manufacturing production techniques, due to better technology being available. However, in 1970s, after 1970s, we see a change. And that is when the Japanese manufacturers came into the market space by better fuel efficient cars and better designs. The requirements have changed. The US automobile makers at that point of time were making large automobiles which were literally big gas hogs. The reason why they could do that was because the price of fuel was very less. But again, 1980s onwards, we see the fuel prices go up. And therefore the need for the automobiles to be redesigned emerged. The Japanese were there with fuel efficient cars, and therefore the industry evolved again in a different manner. Now after that, if we now look at the scenario, you have a lot of regulations related to emissions. You have a totally globalized environment. For automobiles, companies can buy and sell parts as well as products wherever in the globe, and at the same time, we have seen, other than Japanese, we have seen strong contenders from Korea coming into the picture, in the namely Hyundai. They was there as well, however the company couldn't sustain the economic challenges that they faced. Now here, in this automobile industry, you can see the evolution of the industry, and step by step you can see various things. You can see the impact of regulation, you can see the globalization, you can see how companies evolved, you can see how mass production happened, how different customer segment requirements were being met, how the dominance in the automobile technology space changed hands from European to US, and then it changed hands to the Japanese. And industry evolution is a very important aspect to be studied, so that the right decisions can be made by management related to the particular business that they want to enter.